I cannot believe they're doing this in a stick-built camper.
Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here catching a new J-Flight floor plan I just stumbled into. I didn't even know this thing was coming here. This is the new 280 FKS. And yeah, there's a lot of other builders out there that have a front kitchen, living room super slide, and then rear bedroom slide. But the number of them that are a more budget-friendly stick-built camper with stackable washer-dryer prep and like double the counter space of anybody else, well, that, I don't know of anyone else that's done that. That puts this into a very exclusive, exceptional category. Now, the trick is every RV's greatest asset is its greatest liability. Like J-Flight being a little more budget-sensitive, they don't do front windshields. And in a front kitchen, having a front window feels very correct, you know? But they just don't do that here. But still giving you a full queen bed slide and stackable washer dryer prep and great personal storage space. There's some things on this that they do better than the more expensive laminated RVs. And not having a front windshield means you don't have a thermal hole in the wall causing, you know, your oranges on the countertop to get warm. I'm not sure. Like, I've got a neighbor that's always hanging a pineapple outside of his door. And I'm like, who wants to eat hot pineapple? Gross. Anyway, this thing is a very traditional floor plan, but done very well. And the extended front end on this creates the opportunity for a full front storage compartment. And if you're looking at this, you're like, yeah, but I want all the flashy, fancy razzmatazz. They make that. That's the White Hawk 26FK. Or if you've looked at a White Hawk 26FK and went, I like it, but the budget is just a little outside where I want to be. That's where this one comes in right here. Single or dual air enclosed belly, still walkable roof, available 200 watts of solar, and double the warranty of anyone else in this class. I feel like this one's going to be a hit, but I would love to hear from you as we go. You let me know what you think. So using that entry door as a reference, we're basically up here in the corner of the front kitchen looking backwards at the RV. I do want to point out right away, this does have a taller ceiling. J-Flights have a 6'9" ceiling. Industry standard is 6.5. You got to really watch out though, because some RV factory and or dealership marketing people will find an RV that has a barreled ceiling and they measure the very top part of it and say, well, we have a 6'9" ceiling too. Yeah, only at one spot. A taller linear ceiling like this means taller shower, taller slides, bigger cabinets. It's just more effective, and it makes the fit and finish of the RV a lot easier to manage. Now, this does not come by default with a factory television. That's a positive negative thing, because now it allows you to kind of pick the screen that you want versus just going with what the factory provides. People ask me all the time, what's the biggest screen I can put up there? I don't know. Manufacturers don't give us info like that. Our local team members, though, can always measure something up for you to make sure that it fits. Today, we are looking at the theater seat here. Also, I want to point out that Jayco has gone like exclusively cloth touch. No more of that pleather stuff falling apart on you. You do have the opportunity for a trifold sleeper sofa. I think the default in this, though, is a bifold jackknife sofa. So you do have three different seat solutions here. The it's not a ton, but it's not nothing. A couple USB plugs over there, sort of between the two seats in the middle of the slide. And they give you some big windows here, but one of the significant factors for consideration is that this RV has two varieties, two things for campsite window coverage. It has jack and it has squat. That is not something this RV does very well, essentially. Now, as you're noticing up here, you can get this 50 amp. You can get it second AC. These look like non-ducted airs, but they actually are ducted units. What's kind of wild, actually, is the RV that we're in has the opportunity to be outfitted, from what I'm seeing, with a triple air conditioner system. And that's another one of those, like, yeah, a lot of your big giant fifth wheels, like an Alliance Paradigm, is standard with triple air. Name any other stick and tin trailer that even gives you the opportunity for a third air outside of destination trailers. And even then, it's pretty rare, you know. The household outlet down there under the Dinette's also an easy feature to miss. That is a very useful thing. If I'm not mistaken, you have you can get a table and chairs instead of the dinette here, the booth as well. By default, this does not have a solar package, but if you do get the optional 200-watt solar, that's where your charge controller would be located, by the way. But look at the counter space up here. Like, yeah, it does have a level shift. And some people are not going to like that. I think Jayco handled it very well, though, by putting some very smartly located power outlets. So I think what I would do, because let's be real, like I've got here, let me turn the camera on to show you a size reference of this. Because I don't know that you get the full effect of this. Like, I'm tall, I have long arms, and I have to really reach up here to get to this stuff. Now, I can do it, but someone who's a little shorter than me might not be able to. So what I would do here, I'd do two things. One, I'd do what they did where I'd put some decoration up there. But secondly, this is where I would keep my appliance stuff, like an air fryer. It will occupy most of this counter space, and it will put the function thing, the handle, up close where you could reach it. A coffee maker, I'd put them close up, stuff like that. But remember, you're going to want to make sure you secure that stuff for transit. Otherwise, it's going to go all over the place. And you might say, well, that's really stupid. That's wasted counter space. And if you feel that way, I'm not here to argue with you. If that's your reality, that's your truth. That's okay. I'm not an authority that tells you what is correct and what is not. What I want to point out, though, is that you're not losing other counter space. You're gaining counter space in this. And under this elevated, I don't know, bar or whatever level change is a full outdoor pass-through compartment that many front kitchens do not have. So it might not be the most convenient, but it's never less than anyone else. If that means that you don't like it, though, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, they did a really smart job here, not putting the heat vents in the floor in the main kitchen area, putting them down in the toe kick boards. Through other parts of the RV, though, you will spot some floor ducted heating, so kind of keep that little detail in mind. I do want to mention that the stovetop vent hood does exhaust heat outside as well. And one of the areas that sometimes you can help, if you open that refrigerator and you learn how to decode the sticker model numbers, you can determine that this is an 8 cubic foot fridge freezer. But if you see like an extra drawer below it, that's another indicator that they didn't go with a 10 cubic foot, but they used the space. Ooh, you see that location, that converter fuse box next to my water bottle down there by the door? Talk to anyone who actually camps and they will confirm for you that is one of the best, most useful, easy access locations. If you have to actually get down there and change fuses, being able to like just kind of take a knee on one of the steps to reach it, super handy. And I gotta say, overall, I'm very impressed on the total storage capacity on this. The only caution I want to leave you really in regards to that is just being conscious of the RV's available cargo capacity. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not like 4,000 pounds. So, here's another, while we're looking at all the storage, here's a question I get all the time. People will say, the cargo capacity listed for that RV, is it only for while you're towing? Or does that apply when the RV is stationary? I don't really have a clear answer on that from RV manufacturers. So I think the only safe answer I can give you is that it pretty much applies all the time. Ooh, nice space for a wastebasket down there. Well done. Okay. That's also all PEX on PEX plumbing, by the way. But on the weight conversation, once again, there is an interesting precedent in terms of how manufacturers handle cargo on bunks. And since we're in a Jayco, I can use a Jayco as a reference. And I know I'm kind of like a squirrel bouncing around, but I love the symmetry of the overhead cabinetry here. 2 doors that flip up and defy gravity. Just, I think, very well executed kitchen storage in here. Sorry, for the third time, back to the weight conversation. A Jayco bunk is rated for 600 pounds of sleeping at your destination. But they also put a delimiter on there that says, or 400 pounds of cargo capacity in transit. So it stands to reason, using that as a reference, that your cargo capacity on your RV essentially increases by roughly 50% while the RV is at rest. So basically, if you're not towing this thing down the road and bouncing it and jouncing it like Tigger the Tiger, then cargo is just not as much of a issue and or conversation. But be smart. Don't be dumb about it. Use common sense, guys. Another quick note here. If you don't like the contraception controlling hard fixed middle armrest console in this, understand the left recliner, right recliner, and the middle section are technically 3 separate pieces that sort of bracket together. You could actually remove that or rearrange it to create a love seat if you want to. That's sort of up to you. Some people, like my wife, likes the population control, you know, not my thing, but hey. The space around the toilet, pretty decent. That is a more conventional, like, plastic stool that you're looking at in here, obviously. This is also just the more traditional version of this floor plan, which does come equipped with a radius shower. Now, real quick, you can see on the right side of the screen, the headroom in the shower, if you're a little over 6 foot tall like me, pretty awesome. The elbow room in a radius shower is where some people find issues with it. If you face straight toward the corner of the shower with your butt toward the split open door, then usually your elbow room will be fine. But if you try to turn sideways, it becomes a bit of an issue. So I don't know, keep that in mind. I am looking for towel hangers. They don't really give us any from the factory, but we have this open wall space right here. I would probably put like a towel hanger on the right side, or hang a towel hanging thing off of the swinging bathroom door. The bathroom door also has a privacy lock, which is really, really nice. Now, again, factory TVs are not a standard force thing in a J-Flight RV. Working our way back here, though, this bedroom is just not what you expect out of a stick-built camper. And this was really kind of the thing that blew my mind here. All the extra kitchen storage, a 60 by 80 True Queen bed slide, but one that's also built a little bit wider. If you wanted to take out those little shelves, which are, you know, just enough for like maybe a phone or something like that. If you wanted to put an Olympic Queen in here, maybe an RV King, I think you would actually have the opportunity to do that. And once again, you know, making the cabinet doors defy gravity, those having the little metallic struts on them. I prefer metallic struts versus plastic because they just don't tend to wear out and or break as easily, you know. Not impossible, just much, much harder. Easy lift bed here. Now, they make this a straight inside-outside cargo compartment, plus you do have your full front pass-through cargo area. If you don't like that, it would not be hard. Right where you see the plywood end and linoleum begin, it would not be hard to install a vertical partition right there, or you could probably ask our team to do that. I cannot imagine that's a very involved thing if you want to kind of separate everything. Now, a couple handy benefits to this over here. First of all, this is, I don't want somebody to rip this door off. This is a sliding door. It's basically on a drawer runner glide system. I can imagine someone's going to try to grab it and rip it off the wall, which, you know, you're only going to do that once before you realize. But it's either a big chunk of extra space, or it's obviously stackable washer dryer prep. But you might notice it's a double closet arrangement as well. And if you look closer down there, you might see that it's not flexible hoses with PEX fittings. They're just not doing that in here. And once again, just so that you can confirm, you do have hanging storage capacity up in there. But if you install a washer dryer, thankfully, you don't destroy all of your storage. Don't get me wrong, you've greatly reduced it, but you also have the opportunity to go with a combo versus a stackable to kind of split the difference between the two. But the experienced RVers that I've talked to when it comes to washer dryers, most of them basically say either go stackable or just don't do it. I have no personal experience either way, so just kind of sharing what I've been told over, you know, my career. Now, when the slides close for road mode, first of all, you folks said you like to see the slides close, so I just try to fulfill that for you. Please keep those constructive concepts coming. I'll do my best to fulfill. This is a 2-entry door model. I was curious, if I left the bathroom door open, could we slide through here? I was not optimistic we could. I was correct in not being optimistic about that. So, back here, door number 2 will get you into the bedroom and the bathroom, but I want to offer a quick note. This RV rocks rack and pinion slides, which is good for a lot of reasons. One of the downsides, though, is that you probably should not lay in that bed or sit in the seats while it's retracted. Now, manufacturers account for storage that they build into the slide. They don't account for people. They did not. So keep that little detail there in mind. So your front door will be for your snacktastic travel stops up here. And the good news is that with where they've located your drawers, your fridge, your, what do I want to say? Sink. That's, wow. Woo, smoke coming out of my ears on that one. You can, I think, have a functional travel stop here if you just want to stop, make yourself a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper. Now, one of the first things I want to say here is that I do not recommend pairing this up with a half-ton pickup for several reasons. It is a little bit longer than some of the other front kitchens I've seen. I think it's closer to the 32-foot mark because they added that full washer-dryer prep on the back. But again, that puts it into a very different category and adds a ton of extra closet space and makes the bedroom look and feel more open. But also, the total GVW of this is like close to 10,000 pounds, and a front kitchen, especially the front cargo compartment loaded with cargo, is probably going to yield a hitch weight that will exceed what most half tons can handle in terms of payload rating. So it always is very situationally dependent, but generally speaking, I don't think most half tons are going to pair very well for this. I don't think you need a monster 3/4. I think you just need more than your conventional half ton to get her done, son. Now, this up here, a lot of front kitchen RVs have no front pass-through storage, and those that do, they have to delete most of the lower kitchen cabinetry. This one does not do that. This gives you and instead of or. Now it's a little longer, a little heavier, but that's what you get for it. Now you see that white box up there in the corner, upper right corner? That's your basic inverter prep. If you want to add an inverter to this RV, it can power several, I think it's like 3 outlets. I don't remember which ones specifically. They're actually very not good about giving dealers even that information, but there you go. Now we are looking at the Elite package today. So actually, hold on. I'm going to back up and turn you to the left. This is normally what one of these things would look like. So don't be surprised if you see a corrugated, crunchy, ruffles got ridges skin on the outside of some of these at some dealerships. We are looking at the optional Elite package, which adds a few widgets, whiz bangs. You have the ability to get some fiberglass skin, obviously. Now that doesn't change the structure of the RV. You don't magically change to an aluminum laminated wall. And I want to continue to stress that because we just recently took a trade-in at my home store where the guy was convinced he had laminated aluminum framed walls and did not, because he was lied to effectively somebody lied to him to get his money. That's not, I want to earn your business at our dealerships. I don't want to get your business. There's a very big difference there. This is a friction hinge anti-slam door. They both are actually. The front door has a little bit more of additional treatment where it's got the a little bit larger folding entry handle and the stable steps right here. You'll notice that they do not do those things on the secondary entry door for the bedroom back here. It's just the more conventional steps, just the smaller grab handle. Being a J Flight, being still a little more budget sensitive, they don't always add all of those extra details. But as you see that 2+3 sticker in the window there telling you, they still have basically double the warranty of anybody else in this class. And as I'm sorry, I can't keep the whole thing in the camera frame the entire time. Here in this display, it's not exactly tight quarters, but I can't get you the big broadside views of some of these bigger rigs. Really good power awning space on this one. And perhaps one of the most critical factors ever in anyone's purchase decision in the history of history, he says with great sarcasm, is the propanus, the gas that comes out the backside for your grilling, baby. Now, you might notice the underbelly here enclosed. This is not some magic Four Seasons camper. Again, if somebody tells you that, please run away from them. Don't walk, because just like the towing conversation and the construction conversation, they don't care at all about you. They care only about getting your money. So that's just a factor to kind of consider there. Now up top, we do have, ladder prep. We have camera prep that is a fully walkable roof. And working our way around here, something I am very pleased to report. These are dual rack and pinion slides. I have a whole separate video giving you the ins and outs, ups and downs, positives and negatives of most of the towable RV industry's common slide systems. Generally speaking, rack and pinion is considered the most desirable for its superior service records, but also that's basically the biggest reason why, for its superior service records. Now, it still has that full front pass-through compartment, but they still maintained that big under the bed headboard area storage as well. So this probably has some of the best outside storage I've ever seen on a front kitchen. They're doing some big fancy speech thing up front, so I didn't want to be outside with my loud, annoying voice and interrupting people. Not that you care. Anyway, here's what you probably care about. You want to know, how much does this thing set me back? check the links in the video description. I'll leave you a link to our website where you can check pricing and availability. I will also leave you links to other builders of front kitchens like this. Almost all of them will be more expensive laminated offerings. Again, I think that they really threaded a needle here, and they gave you the big features without all of the big budget right here. Overall, I think that this thing is a success, but that's just my opinion. I suppose your purchasing records will actually be the thing that determines that. So if you appreciate how we get the footage for you, leave us a little like, click on the video, or whatever. I'm not a good YouTuber, obviously. You're supposed to smash the like button, but I don't get into that. So we'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.